and I are back with another Destiny 2 video. If you don't know where Evie is, you can see your right. See the ear? There we go. Today I wanted to talk about yesterday's TWAB a little more. Not really about the TWAB itself, but kind of yet another step in this process of let's keep everything a secret until launch. I feel like this is escalating to a point where things are getting a little odd, and I feel like the game is doing itself a disservice by keeping this much under wraps. I want to say up front here that I know this is coming in the same week where I just wrote a whole article about how Bungie has scaled back communication with the public, with players, based on the fact that they have gotten very real threats about based on the game, real threats to their employees. They're currently in the middle of a lawsuit against a guy who was threatening to hurt people at the studio and to burn it down, and all terrible stuff. I do think this is kind of a separate thing. I think keeping aspects of a season or something like that a secret is different than what we're talking about with Bungie being less communicative. I think that is more Bungie used to really, really openly communicate. A lot of different employees in different fields would be kind of free to talk about different aspects of the game, respond to player feedback or criticism directly, debate people on Twitter or show up in Reddit threads a lot. That I think is different than what we're talking about here. Whereas I feel like this is more of a kind of a marketing decision in terms of what they're showing or not showing about future seasons. And to me, things are kind of treading into a weird territory here where I don't really get their desire to keep this much a secret. And I guess there's some, theories about this as to why they're doing this, and, all may be revealed on August 23rd during the Lightfall showcase. But I just kind of want to go through why I've arrived at this point and why this feels so strange to me as someone who covers this game full time. We can go back to when this started, which was obviously, I think, right before Season of the Haunted. Before this, we had a lot more information ahead of time. They were okay saying that Vault of Glass was coming back to the game. When did they announce that? 6 months early? Right after the Witch Queen reveal, they started immediately giving us details about Void 3.0, which was not out for another 6 months, but it gave us a pretty strong preview of what was to come there. This changed for Season of the Haunted, where they did not want to tell us anything about the season at all. They wanted to keep it a complete surprise. And then on top of that, they also did not want to talk about Solar 3.0 whatsoever. So we did not get any sort of breakdown of what was coming with Solar 3.0, and we just had to kind of figure that out once it was live in the game. The keeping the story stuff a secret was kind of one thing. I believe the desire at the time was about, it was a big deal that the Leviathan was coming back, and they wanted everyone to be kind of surprised and excited that the Leviathan was back corrupted as a patrol space. It was a cool thing to keep secret, so I can understand that logic. The theory at the time was that they weren't going to tell us anything about Solar 3.0 because somehow that was going to be tied into the story, where we'd have some sort of plot line that involved the rekindling of our solar powers, and that would, that's why they weren't talking about it. That wasn't true. That didn't happen. Solar 3.0 didn't have anything to do with the story at all. They just didn't tell us about it, so we kind of had to figure out everything on the fly, and then that led to people thinking it was very underwhelming at the start, and then slowly they figured out how to use it and stuff. But I think ultimately what Season of the Haunted proved was the secrecy sort of worked against them. I think though the Leviathan coming back was very cool, I think some people are a little disappointed with the season overall. It is very, very heavily focused on Nightmare Containment, and pretty much Nightmare Containment alone. It is such a heavy focus of the season, it kind of makes it a little dull compared to other seasons, even though the Leviathan is coming back, or is back. I don't think the Leviathan is fully utilized as much as it could be. And then the Solar 3.0, if they were trying to avoid pushback maybe for stuff that was talked about beforehand, I don't think that worked because there was pushback anyway. So now we arrive at Season 18, and we are not getting any concrete information about Season 18 other than maybe some sandbox stuff before the August 23rd reveal. We also learn now that we are not getting to know the Destiny 1 raid that is coming back 3 days after the season launches. We know it's pretty much down to just either Wrath of the Machine or King's Fall. Not getting that information. It does not seem likely that we are going to get Arc 3.0 information before the season launches either, which may be revealed that day during the showcase or not at all. So in theory, we could have a Lightfall showcase that talks about the plot of Season 18, Arc 3.0, reveals the raid that's coming 3 days later, talks about Lightfall, and then maybe reveals a 5th subclass in Lightfall itself, which everyone is kind of assuming will happen. So like that is just a ton of stuff jammed into one day there. Keeping, like, the one thing I guess I can still justify is, okay, if Lightfall reveals something significant about the story of Season 18, or vice versa, if Season 18 reveals something significant about the direction of Lightfall, I get maybe keeping that aspect of it under wraps. After Solar 3.0, I am not convinced that keeping all the details about the 3.0 element under wraps before season launch is necessary or a good idea. I would kind of like to get some sense of what's coming, like those keywords and things like that, and kind of the more, at least the generalized direction of where things are going before this, in order to start planning builds and things. I'm wondering if, say, Arc 3.0 is going to come with a big revamp of mobility, because that seems, that's a very underused stat now. We know Arc is going to be at least about speed to some extent. So is anything changing with mobility? Should I be farming high mobility armor? Like, we don't know. We don't know, anything about it until maybe the day of. And I think Bungie is going to run into, people probably pushing back against something either way, where I think at least knowing something ahead of time is better than knowing nothing. And I think that's what we saw with Solar, where I don't think there was any advantage to keeping it under wraps till then. Similarly, I don't understand why you would need to keep the Destiny 1 raid under wraps. The theory here is that if we know what the Destiny 1 raid is, we will then know approximately what the season is about. Like, so for instance, if it's King's Fall, the season may be high focused and we may swing back to Savathûn or something. If the season is, or if the raid is Wrath of the Machine, this may indicate a Siva season, a return of fallen splicers in the story or something like that. And that may give something away there. First of all, I don't know if that's true. Or, the other idea is that the raid is integrated into the story content on top of that. I don't know if that's true, because what happened with Vault of Glass is, yes, Vault of Glass did arrive in a Vex-focused season of the Splicer, but it did not have anything to do with the story. It didn't, it was exactly the old raid, other than the mechanical changes they made. It did not factor into the story at all. It continues to exist, even though Season of the Splicer has been vaulted. And whatever this new raid is will continue to exist after this season, so I don't think it can be directly tied to the season. And the second point is, if it's Wrath of the Machine and we all start speculating about a Siva season or a King's Fall Hive season, is that bad? I feel like we've really kind of lost the plot in terms of potential hype generation here, and I feel like Destiny is doing itself a disservice by creating so much mystery that some people are saying this is like to manage expectations, but I feel like it does the opposite. If Bungie wants to keep everything so under wraps, the implication there is that it's so surprising and so spectacular that it's going to just blow everyone's mind. And I think that's what they thought would happen with Season of the Haunted. And again, I just don't think it played out exactly like that. I think I like Season of the Haunted, a good amount, but I don't think everyone was necessarily just totally flabbergasted and blown away by it to the point where, I think if, teasing the return of the Leviathan probably would not have been the worst thing in the world in the run up to that. I don't know if it gained all that much by being, a huge, it had been predicted many times in the past already that the Leviathan would return, so it wasn't like the most unheard of thing in the world. Here, people have been predicting, there's so many hints about what future seasons could be. There's been so many hints about a Rasputin season coming at some point in the future, hints about, we haven't seen the last of Savathûn, hints about Oryx returning. There's plenty of hints to go around, and I just don't see how this method is better than some sort of, I don't want to say like an ARG viral marketing campaign, but like something. And, we see this across all games. Like Fortnite has little teasers about the next season that they throw in the game and start getting people hyped and speculating about what's happening. And Destiny's done this in the past where I don't remember which seasons it was for, but like at a certain point we would get little kind of like lore entries, I think, in the run up to the season that would kind of start laying the groundwork for the season and getting people hyped. I just think saying absolutely nothing, hinting at absolutely nothing for the entire duration of the current season is really benefiting the game that much. And sure, if you start talking about anything, you run the risk of, I guess, potentially treading on future plot points and also opening yourself up to criticism of, okay, you start hinting at a Siva Rasputin season, like, oh, is this going to be Warmind again? Like, can't believe we're going back to Siva. Like, even if there are a good amount of people that are hyped about, a Siva season coming. I don't know if that offsets what will ultimately be more hype generation for the season. And I mean, we'll see how this pans out, but I don't really get at this point why they are being this level of secret, and I don't think it is related to the whole recent like Bungie's communicating less thing. This feels like a call on like behalf of marketing, and I don't think this is good marketing. There's just having nothing to go on and just having everything be a total mystery. I don't think we saw that really work well last season, and I don't know how necessary that is this season. Like there could be one thing to tie this all together, and it's a Siva Rasputin season. Wrath of the Machine is coming back, and the new 5th subclass coming in Lightfall is Siva particles that we can now control by fusing the darkness and Rasputin nanites or something. Maybe there's all something that ties it together and I'll look stupid later. But for now, after what happened in the run-up to Season of the Haunted and then what's happening now, I just don't know if this is the right call. And I also feel like something is probably going to end up leaking anyway, probably within a week of all this stuff happening. Like, something always leaks. Half the time it's on Bungie's end itself, whether something goes live on the website early or Xbox or PlayStation put something on the store early. So knowing that there are probably going to be leaks anyway, I don't really get it. So again, like, they are welcome to do whatever they want. As someone who covers this game a lot, the idea of now 2 seasons in a row keeping everything, including like subclass changes and reprised raids, like completely under wraps, does not make a ton of sense to me. So those are just kind of my thoughts on this. We'll see. I mean, maybe ARC 3.0 will be revealed. It's not confirmed. It's not going to be. I guess we'll see. But that's just initially what I've been thinking, especially after the lack of a reveal yesterday. And you guys can let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.